Hi, Donald here with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School with another tips and tricks. And this tips and tricks is on how to make sure that your kayak and you and all your gear is ready for a day on the water. And this can be done before every trip, and I do this before every trip, and I recommend that you do this before every single trip as well. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go over the kayak, okay? Go over your nuts, bolts, fasteners, all that, right? On these crescent kayaks, most of the things that are attached on here are with a screw. So just need a screwdriver, make sure all your handles are tight, your tracks, your footrest, your foot rails. Make sure all your bungees are in good working order. Make sure they're stretched. Make sure there's no breaks or cracks or splits or anything like that in your bungees that may make it a difficult day on the water. Make sure your seat hardware, if you have a seat, make sure your seat is, all your hardware is tight. You can use wrenches or screwdrivers, whatever it's going to take. You can put a little toolkit in your tackle box or your black box or milk crate or whatever you happen to have in the back. Just make sure all hardware, seat, kayak, handles, bungee cords, anything that you have attached to this kayak, such as these accessories like this anchor trolley on the other side. Make sure it's all tight. Make sure it still moves. Make sure it does what it's supposed to do before you get on the water. When it fails on the water, it makes it a difficult day to enjoy yourself and to get out there safely and have fun. The other thing you want to check is all your fishing gear, right? Now, whether you're a fly fisherman or fly angler or conventional angler, check your rods, reels. Make sure there's no broken eyelets, broken tips. Make sure everything's lubricated well. Check your line, check your leaders. Check all that before you get on the water each trip. Okay, but before you get on the water, you want to make sure the boat's not going to sink, right? So, a couple things you want to look for, of course, is cracks in the hull or things like that. Any animals that might have moved in there from the last time you stored it, things like that. One of the most important things is the drain plug in the back, right? I've talked about drain plugs before. Make sure your drain plug is in your kayak before you put it on the water. Very important. It keeps water from coming in, but it also, actually it keeps water from, it allows water to go out, but it will allow water in if you're on the water. So make sure your drain plug is installed before you put it on the water. Check everything on the hardware. Make sure all your straps work, all your stuff is working, all your seats tight, everything. If you have a pedal drive system, check that pedal drive. Make sure it's lubricated. Make sure the chains aren't broke or the pulleys or, excuse me, whatever kind of pedal drive you have. Make sure it's in working order. Take it in, take it out. Make sure it's seated properly. Make sure it does seat properly. If you have a rudder, make sure your rudder lines and everything else are fine. Make sure your rudder is going up and down well before you get on the water. Same with the motor. If you have a motor, a battery system, electronics, make sure it all works before you get on the water every single trip. It's going to make every single trip much more enjoyable, and it really only takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much stuff you have on your kayak and your fishing gear. But it really doesn't take that long to just check and make sure. But that 5 and 10 minutes can save you a whole lot of headache out on the water. All right. Thank you all for watching. This is Donald with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School. Tune in every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central for more tips and tricks. Until next time, tight lines and safe paddles.